Welcome to another exciting episode of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Papergoy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
And you are?
Me, Don the Auction Professor, back online again.
And it's the Hump Day Happy Hour Salute. And this, today we had, what do we have? Jack Daniel's Hot Shots. Did you have anything before you joined us?
Me? No, I've got non-sugar product over here.
You'll have plenty after the show, I'm sure. After dealing with us for an hour. So I want to definitely thank Don, the Auction Professor, for showing up here. Legend. And we're going to run through and say hi to a few people here, and then we're going to get into the show.
All right. First out to shoot, we got Gorgeous Guide Guru. How's it going? And I think he's right on. We got the blue hoodie for me. A little orange in there. Yeah, pretty good. Should be like another Nostradamus there. Marvelous Metals in the house. Awesome Antiquarian. Jazzy Jeff, how you doing? Marvelous Michael's in the house. Marvelous Michael Sanborn's in the house. Awesome Anique's here. Delightful Don's always a pleasure. Ferocious Feral Girl's in the house. One and only. One Old Buff's in the house. Popular Paul's in the house. What's Don got to say here?
Don's internet is working. Yeah, yes. Don was supposed to join us 2 weeks ago, and Mr. Magazine wasn't here. And the rumor is that Mr. Magazine sabotaged the appearance, or sabotage, as William Shatner would say, just because he wanted to be here with you, Don. So
I was very jealous. Yeah, very jealous. All right. We also go ahead.
I was just going to say the weirdest. I have an IT degree, and when the guy told me that they came out and looked at everything, that it was due to the crops being cut, I'm like, what are you talking about? I literally went inside and said, I'm going to go look that up. And I pulled out one of my books, and sure enough, the moisture in the ground. And anyway, I know what happens next year. Hopefully they fixed it so I don't have to worry about it ever again. But
yeah, that's a heck of a troubleshooting to know that. I mean, you got to really know on that stuff. Yep. Yeah,
I would have never known.
All right, let's see. We have Dandy Dave's in the house. Marvelous Mr. Hot Wheels. Mercury Morris, how you doing? Oh, it's gorgeous. All right, sounds good. Glad to hear. Terrific Tom's here. Great Gravity's in the house. And we're ready to rock and roll.
All right, we're going to start the show off as we do always. We're going to do about a 15-minute truncated show of ours and include Don in it. And then we've got a whole bunch of questions for Don. So we got the bright light we're going to be shining down on him, and he swears to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Well, let's get started as we usually do. We're going to ask how sales are. And as you're our guest, Don, we're going to ask you first, how are sales?
We were just talking about that before we went live. To be honest with you, I'm like 30.29% up from last year right now. We're 5 digits across the board. That's just on our main eBay account. I've played around. We've run tests again. I've dropped some things we used to do. I booted off the zero quantity option due to them auto relisting stuff that was sold, and on and on and on and on. And we've slimlined everything. We've changed what we're listing now. And I really can't complain, considering that I've got 2 less listers now than I had before we moved. Well, almost 3. It's like 2.5 less right now. So I'm not listing either. And that's because most of the time I'm just doing building and paper and packing and photoing, scanning, whatever else I can get in there. So I can't complain, in all honesty, for the amount of effort I'm putting in to still be up from last year. I can't complain, honestly. I know we talking about, where you were at. Other platform wise, I'm not doing too bad. My best platform right now is eBay.
Okay. How about you, Mr. Magazine?
Well, my eBay is 32% as well, but 32% down from last year.
So Don's taking all your sales is what you're saying.
Regardless of my 50% off sale, nobody cares. Luckily, I don't care either because I have Amazon, which we're probably off maybe 10% from last year. But the Christmas season, Black Friday, we're down probably 50% for the last few days. Again, I can't complain because my website's doing great. DVD site's doing great. We're probably up 50% on those platforms, and they're making more money than eBay and Amazon right now, so I can't complain. How about you?
Now we're gonna I see Michael was mentioning there how his sales were, and a couple of other people.
That's some big numbers. Good for you.
Up 102%. Nice. That's very good.
I wouldn't be here if that was my number.
Sales were lacking for Black Friday, but I'm squeaking by. Okay.
Sounds like me.
eBay sales are picking up and listing more and better quality. That makes a big difference. Definitely makes a big difference. Sales are good up until yesterday. There you go, Don. Well,
nice and news.
Everybody loves Don.
Yeah. TK, how you doing?
Sales have picked up this week. Okay.
Good.
About 10 or so days ago, I made the dive into promoted listings at 2%. Impressions up, sales up, number of offers I can send up, just experimenting for now. Okay. And yeah, so my sales, Thursday, well, let's put it this way, Cyber Monday, I think I sold 5 items total with 22,000 items listed. It was not good. It would have been a not great day normally. For Cyber Monday, it was not good at all. It finally picked up today, and last week it wasn't bad.
Can I interrupt for 1/2 a second? Did you do anything special for Cyber?
Nope.
Okay.
Neither did I. For Whatnot. Anything on Whatnot for Cyber Monday?
I did nothing on Whatnot for Cyber Monday either.
I didn't do anything on Whatnot either. How about you, Don? Have you done anything on Whatnot for Cyber Monday?
The running joke is Mr. Magazine's not a fan of Whatnot.
Neither am I.
I don't think it works for me. That's just my opinion.
I was giving stuff away. It was like half of what I'd get for the same item on eBay. After I sold a Pink Floyd for $30, I'm like, and it was something I've gotten, $65, $70 for before every time I listed on eBay. So I just...
Not for you. Yep.
No. Again, if it works for somebody, great. There's sites that I don't like, Poshmark. I don't mess with it, but I know people that make all of their money off of that site. So I don't ridicule it. They do very well. And Macari, however it's pronounced. I know people that do that make, $30,000 a year just on that platform. And I see even stuff like you and me sell, or all of us sell that on that same platform, which I'm really surprised. I don't know what their sales rates are, but.
Well, you're definitely a better man than Mr. Magazine, because he does ridicule, but that's a whole nother story. My Amazon is okay. Just sales are okay for this time of year. But again, I'm not doing anything special either. And I know a lot of people are. And I think one of the problems that I'm running into is Mr. Magazine here's got the 50% off sale. And I think a lot of other people have 20% off sales, 30% off sales, etc. And I'm competing against them also, without doing anything whatsoever. And again, part of the reason, which we'll get into a little bit later, is because I don't need to at this moment now, because I've still got the day job for a little while longer.
How long?
Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Down in a minute.
Yeah, no, that would be silly. New to you, Ben, fourth quarter sales up about 35% year over year. Wow, that's nice. Sales okay every other day. Yep. What Metal just said there is a lot of what I'm finding. Today is good. Monday, Tuesday were not good. Last week was halfway decent for me. So it's like you get 3-4 decent days in a row on eBay. Then it dies for 3-4 days, and then it picks up again. Have you noticed that at all, Don?
Well, I don't see that overall. I mean, I track it. I try to compare, last year and 5 years back, and then I look at the last weekend and Monday. I do end and sell similar on Monday mornings. And
okay.
I do restart my sales. All my sales end at 2:30 in the morning on Monday. Well, real early in the morning on Mondays, and then they do the same on Fridays. So what I know is if I don't do it before a certain time frame, my sales are not dead, but they're really slow till about 5 or 6 at night, when they normally wouldn't be any other day of the week other than ending all that and doing all that stuff. So from what I see, like on a Monday, there's a lag time with what I'm doing. If I change it to a Tuesday, Mondays are much better every time. So if I end a sale on Tuesday, so there's a drawback to running sales. And the only time good for us that looks like it wouldn't kill my sales is to do it 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I'm not going to stay up for an hour to do that, because I don't go to bed till 2 now. I'd have to be 3 or after, you know what I mean?
You could hire me to do it, because I'm up at 2:30 every morning. So there we go. I just got myself a job when I retire.
There you go.
And I know you don't do promoted, but I do promoted, mostly at 2%. 50 sales last week, 24 of them were promoted. So about 50% promoted is running. And of course, nowadays, if anybody's clicked on the thing within the last 30 days, yada, 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 that whole thing. You have ended all your promoted.
When did it officially end?
Last week. But you'll still be paying percentages for 30 days. Yep.
Okay. Just curiosity's sake, when you started promoted, did you do like a baseline and a test to see if you'd still had the same basic sales, whether you did them promoted or not? Or have you know what I mean? I'm not trying to.
I didn't really do it. I added promoted, oh gosh, shortly after they first rolled them out, and I noticed an increase in sales. And again, that doesn't prove anything, as you know. But over time, I've slowly lowered it down to just 2%, because when I started it out, I was up at a higher percentage because a lot of people weren't doing it at that time. Now with everybody doing it, I said, I'm not going to race my way up and be given 12, 14, 15%. I'll just do it at 2 at this point. And I'm thinking of, I'm watching to see what Mr. Magazine's happens with him and his sales. And if his sales don't slump, then I'm probably going to stop it as well.
See, I did it. I bit the bullet, and I did it like a year or so ago for November, part of December. I think we did it for 23 days to test it, because I'm like, people were calling me out and said, hey, if you haven't used it, how do you know? So they're right. I fully said, yep, sure, you're right. Let me go and try it. And I did it for 23 days, and my sales went down. And I did a 10% on the percentage on the promoted. My take is it's what I sell. And like one person, probably 35% to 55% or more of sales in an average day in that range are, multiple items to the same person. So I only need to get my usual customers. And I look to like 70% of the majority of my sales in the last 2 weeks are people who have bought from me before. So, when they keep coming back,
you don't need it. Yep.
I don't need it. That's exactly right. I mean, I used it. I've used it on Amazon in the modern day times because it works on there for targeted key, advertisements. It's the same basic thing as eBay has. Yeah. I'm sure Chuck's probably used it before in the past too. You might have too. I don't know how if you mess with the promoted on Amazon or not.
No, I just list and forget on Amazon also. And it's the same thing. I got 22,000 items up on there. So I just figure I'll just sell stuff just by accident.
I hear you.
And then offers, and I have a quick question for you about offers in a minute. This last 7 days, I was able to send out 130 offers. 69
out of the whole 7 days?
7 days, 130 offers I was allowed to send out. Yep.
Total in that whole 7 days?
Yeah. Yep.
That's like a day or less for us. I can do that in like 8 hours.
Yeah. But last year it was 159. Yeah. So 130 for me. And 69 of those are older, and I define older being more than 2 years old. So 69 of them are older. So they're showing about half the items that I can send offers out on are older. Now, eBay has made the ability that you can check the box and have offers sent out automatically. Do you do that? Okay. And why not?
Because things change in time. If I did it, in fact, we had to go back and double track some to figure out which ones I added it to. Tobacco trade cards skyrocketed in the last 2 or 3 years, and I sold $340 in one day, and the next day we sold like $780 in just tobacco cards. And if I would have locked them in, I would have been given away for less than they were going for top dollar. I actually went back in and raised the prices for every one I had up at a certain point when I realized, hey, that comes back to I do random looks. If somebody sends me an offer, I'll go look it up to see where the market is right now, because I would hate to accept it and find out that I should have upped the price. I had some FAO Schwartz trade cards, 1880s or so, the big store in New York. And the prices were down for like 2.5 years. These days, I don't even care if it's old or new. I don't even look anymore if it's old, other than ending and selling similar. And so I ended up jacking the prices up. We sold $250, 3 single cards to one person right after I jacked up the prices. So price, sometimes I raise the price, stuff sells. I don't worry about a lot of the other junk that's going on anymore. I compare the prices. Now that eBay has 3 years in Terapeak, I think that's a little bigger help, because then you can look before, right at the pandemic start, to at least knock out the garbage in the middle that's through the roof for no reason other than the pandemic.
Yeah, and I turned to offer. I no longer have them automatically send it out, because my thinking was eBay has so many glitches that I'm trusting that they're going to be sending them out, and they can't do anything right. So what are the odds that they're actually going to be sending those offers out? And then all of a sudden, for some reason, that goes down. They don't send anything out for 3 weeks, and I'm not aware of it, and I'm not sending any offers out. And so I said, something, if I'm going in and clicking anyway to send offers out, what difference does it make if I'm clicking the box and 10 things get filled in or 20 things get filled in? It makes no difference at all to me.
Well, when I send out offers to watchers, I literally for the show I sent out 38, and I'd sent them out twice today already before the 38. I'll if they're over a certain dollar amount, I send out a offer at a certain percentage off. If they're under a certain dollar, it's a lower amount discount to. So I break them down into like 3 groups when I send out offers to watchers. I usually get 20% sell through rate on offers to watchers on average.
Okay.
You know, if I send them out, that's probably about average. Some weeks, if it's like certain items, people must know that, hey, if he watches it or looks at enough of them, he's going to get offers. And, you know, I'm fine if they want to play the game because my prices I have, you know, they're 3X.
That's something built into it, right?
Yeah, it's not going to hurt me.
Yeah, cool. And then the other thing is I've sold 1 item on $1 Million Peddlers over on eBay, which is another site that I sell on. Or another eBay account. And then I sold 7 items on Etsy. So Etsy picked up for me this past week. So that's good. How about buys? Have you been buying anything? Or are you just too busy to buy anything, Don?
I spent $5. We were out with family for Thanksgiving. That's all I spent in the last year or so. And I bought a stack of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon cards.
Okay. And
I got Dark Magician first edition. That's like $1,500. I got like $3,500 ungraded. If I'm going to send them in and grade them. One of my patrons called out that one of them's having a big sale on grading cards, $15 or less right now. So I'm going to send them in. And in fact, I'm doing it with somebody else. In fact, when I'm done with the show at 11 o'clock tonight, we're going to transfer cards and stuff. But so I did several thousand. There may even be enough if I dig out some more. I'll send them into Heritage because I got a Patreon right now who's sold like $12,000, I think, of just like Pokemon cards graded. And they graded them and they had them back in like a week. I mean, some crazy fast. You know how they work.
Yeah.
You know. So that's the only buy I got. I did go to a military show 3 weeks ago or something, and I did really well. I got a nice little bag of buttons. My son got a World War I Air Force, Army Air Force, Air Corps uniform. Really nice piece for almost nothing. So we did very well at the last show. But that's it.
Yeah, cool. How about you, Mr. Magazine?
Well, speaking of buys, guess who's here?
Who?
Mr. Buys a Lot.
Oh, hello, Mr. Buys a Lot.
How's
there he is. Nice.
But as far as my buys, we have Aaron driving. Well, him and his buddy flew to Texas yesterday, pick up a 15,000 piece collection of adult items. Chicago, then Connecticut, and back to Rochester. The 27-foot truck filled up.
And you don't know this, Don, but Mr. Magazine checks every one of those adult items to make sure they're complete. So
I have to. I'm not doing my job if I don't. Every page, every scene, yes, for sure.
Skipping the ads, of course.
Of course. I had 2 buys. I got texted a buddy of mine that also is in a reselling business, didn't want to deal with somebody, so he gave him my number. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, a week ago, I got a text, are you interested? And I looked, and there were a bunch of playbills, and I said, yeah, sure, I guess. And they said, yeah, I got about 500 of them, something like that. So I ended up, I can give you a quarter a piece on them because I sell playbills. And then they counted them up, and they go, I've got 981 of them. I go, can you do $200? Because I don't want to be paying. They said, yeah, I can do that. So they brought them on by. They actually brought them by to the store up at the corner, and I met them up over there. So they actually basically delivered them to me. So that was nice. And going through there, 13 of them were signed, including a Lily Tomlin, Martin Short, and Kathleen Turner. So that's pretty cool to find those in there. Yeah, I can't argue with that at all. And then I got another buy. Some lady, she sold her house, but she sold the house to the neighbor. So the neighbor's not moving in right away, and she's got tons of books from her ex or her dead husband, or who's deceased husband, but she's going through each book one by one to see if it's worthwhile or not. And if it's not worthwhile, she wants to sell them to me, but she doesn't understand first editions and that kind of stuff. So, and she's willing to sell them cheap because she doesn't think they're any good at all. So I'm going down and I'm buying those. And a lot of the things that I'm buying over there are good for Whatnot because, again, I do stuff on Whatnot. So they're perfect purchases for that because I'm into them right. So I don't really care what I get out of them. So that's about it on that over there. We have another section over here, Don, called Glitch of the Week. Did you notice any glitches when you were out there, online?
It's usually whatnot, in case you're wondering.
Or eBay.
Mostly
eBay holds its own.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I can't say we had any issues as of late at all, to be honest with you. eBay has gotten much better. Now, if you want to talk about dinging you, now I can discuss a new ding they tried to get. Well, they did put on us for something, but glitch wise, I'm honestly, I can't think. We used to write them down. I used to write them down, and sometimes it'd be 10, 12, 15, 20 a day. Not us or not you, it's us kind of thing. And we stopped writing down because they've actually mostly gone away. I mean, I can't tell you when. I mean, there's minor things like when you go to end and sell similar and you're doing like 200 at a shot, it'll sometimes glitch out. And it's only eBay, and I'll have to disconnect Wi-Fi, on that laptop or whatever and click it back. And everything else works except eBay sometimes. And I don't know if there's the way my security settings are. It could have something to do with that sometimes. I don't know, but that's the only thing I can think of.
What ding did they get you?
What ding did they get me? I got a video I recorded. I haven't edited it, but there's
sneak preview right here.
I'll tell you, it's not a big secret. Now, they got me for military buttons, and they told me it was fine to list them. They said, we're going to take it off your record. And then they dinged me again for listing them again, or it was police buttons is what it was. And then they dinged me again after they told me, personally, hey, you're fine. Go ahead and list them back up. It was an AI mix up. Looks like you're fine. They're small. You can't confuse them with badges, blah, 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 blah. And then they dinged me again. Well, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, I got a notice saying you need to take this down. Otherwise you're going to be, in violation, blah, blah, blah. And it was for a necklace that I put in cow, bovine, bone, ebony wood, tribal. I think it's some similar to that. I got video of it, but the point being, the only reason I put bovine and was using bovine is because eBay told me to use it when they dinged me because I just put cow in the title. And they told me on 3 or 4 different occasions bovine was fine. Well, they're telling me that bovine's not a species. And I'm like, you need to list the exact species of it. I'm like, a cow bovine, there is no cow bovine on the planet that would be on a ban list anywhere. There is no cow. If I put cow bovine together, it's none of it. There's nothing. I looked at every wildlife page that exists. I looked at all the ones on their page. In fact, the page that told me go look here doesn't work on eBay. So that would be the only glitch. The email they sent me, and I got video of the email. The email they sent me said, check here and you'll see the rules. Their page link didn't work because they updated it. So it was taking me to a page that doesn't exist. They rephrased the wording and said, now it says something. I don't remember the word for word, but the point was that I was correct in using I went to a restricted items department or some BS at eBay, got in touch with me about it because I was like, look, what can I list? You're taking down the word bovine now. Well, I ended up getting a ding for it, even though, they told me. And then the guy from India, there was another, they didn't understand the terminology and they had to look it up and blah, 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 blah. They didn't get the cultural differences.
The nuances, yeah.
The nuances, yeah. And at the end of the day, he says, well, who told you that? I'm like, Anchor Store Support on numerous occasions. Well, who are they? And I'll make sure that we take care of it. I'm like, I'm not sitting here. You're the one who doesn't understand what a species is. So anyway, that was my asinine issue with eBay. Once again, dinging me for something they told me was fine to list. That's two in 4 or 5 months that they ding me for stuff they said I was allowed to list.
Mr. Magazine has had that happen to him as well. Why don't you give a quick little thing of yours?
The adult stuff.
Yeah.
We've called them probably 10 times in the last 3 months because we picked up huge autograph collections of adult cards, photos, and a lot of Playboy too. At first they said we can list them all, no problem, nothing below the belt, so we're doing that. Then we got dinged on that. And then they said we have to cover them. Then we covered them. Then they said we couldn't list any celebrities.
Except
Betty Page and Marilyn Monroe, nude. And so any Playboy Playmate, any adult porn star is a celebrity. So they're saying we couldn't list anything. So we continued to do so. We just blocked it out. And then they said that was a ding. We just call them every time we talk to someone else. It's just something different every time. So now we can do everything but any celebrity. A-list celebrity. So now you can't list a nude A-list celebrity, signed or unsigned. You can't list any cards at all nude. But you can list every.
What's the reasoning for that?
I think they're getting a lot of backlash from celebrities.
Well, they signed it. If it's signed, they signed it knowing that it's
right. Because we would get 5 dings on one like playmate because she doesn't want her cards out there with her nudity on them. So like say she's inside the magazine, she doesn't mind that because you have to open the magazine, but she doesn't want her body being shown as a card, if that makes any sense. So as it stands now, if they're B-movie adult or B-movie playmates, we can sell them. And we started giving them like a question, like, hey, is this celebrity A or B? And they don't even know who they are, so as long as it's not Pamela Anderson, Anna Nicole Smith, Marilyn Monroe, we're good to go. But it's just a pain. And then they got to be blocked out too. So now we got to go back and block out everything, because everyone else is doing that.
You don't have any issues on Amazon, do you?
Never on that type of stuff. I mean, every now and then they'll ding some titles, but for the most part, our rating's pretty high there.
Yeah, same here. I was going to say, I have more issues with eBay any day of the week, hands down, with policy issues than I do on Amazon. And this is the same items.
Sure.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Which is crazy.
Well, on the positive side, that means I can sell my Kathy Griffin nude collection that I've been assembling.
There you go. I don't know.
she's D-list.
You have to put that 90% off sale.
Wow. Poor old Kathy Griffin gets some shrapnel. All right. The only glitch that I had, and I actually would have lost some money on this over here, everybody's favorite site, Whatnot, had 0% commissions on Black Friday. Now, my over-under for the site crashing was 12:30. It actually made it till 7:30.
Wow.
And I actually had a half-hour show, 5 to 5:30, and made it through my show. But yeah, the entire site crashed. And that's really a bad look for a site because they were pushing it to all the sellers saying, hey, 0% commission, 0% commission.
They can't handle it.
No, they could not. And pretty much everybody set up. And then from what I was reading on various boards, a lot of people did not do very well. I ended up selling 13 out of 17 items. I was able to get 17 items up in half an hour, and 13 of them sold. And I did a lot better than a lot of other people. And one of the reasons why I think was because so much of that site is resellers buying for resale that if you offer up for all these resellers to be able to sell and everybody's having their own show, if Mr. Magazine's having a show at 5 o'clock, he can't shop my show at 5 o'clock. So I think it was that kind of deal. And then if usually, and I'm making this up because obviously I'm not privy to their numbers, but if they have 20 book sales auctions going on at 5 o'clock usually, and now they have 30, if you're a buyer, you can't go to all 30. So you just go to the person that you normally go to who usually has a show then. So yeah, the site crashed. I know that's kind of crazy on that. But
that person, my patron Nancy's in there, and she said as of now she sold on Heritage $32,000 worth of just Pokemon cards.
Wow.
And she's got another one. I've watched a bunch of them because I recommended her to go over there because that's where I would take them personally. I don't like dealing with Christie's or Sotheby's. Christie's was snotty to me. Sotheby's has been toss of a coin whether they're nice or not. And there's a couple other ones I've used, but Heritage, I've never had them be nasty, rude. They've always answered my questions, and they've always been very. I don't get nothing from them, but they've always been. I know you buy from them. I
buy from them regularly. Yeah.
Yeah, I've consigned a bunch of times with them, mainly comic books and autographs.
Yeah. All right, we're going to head into the next one. You're going to like this one, Don. It's item of the week. Every week we showcase an item, and wait till you see what I found, and wait till you hear the story behind this, Don. It kind of disappears, but you'll see it. Oh, and it completely disappears. Hopefully I can show this. Oh, there we go. Do you recognize what this is, Don?
Yeah, it's a Topps chewing gum box. What, 80s?
1977, and this is a case box. But here's the funny story about this. So I was at a sale, and I go up in the attic, and it was filled with glasses. And there was a sticker on the box, $3 all. And I'm like, I don't want the glasses. I want the box. So I bought all the glasses. I ended up giving them to Random Neighborhood Kid because with him moving out, he needed the glasses. Did a little bit of pricing on that. The box is about a $350 box. Because again, it's the case box. So remember, you would have had 12 or whatever regular boxes in it. So it's limited comparatively. But I guess the tip of the day there on that is sometimes do take a look at the boxes that people have the stuff in. Again, I put zero value at all in the glasses. I put it all in that box, and it's a really good box. I'm sure you found similar type boxes or good boxes before that have held stuff.
Oh yeah. Not only that, I have whenever I was a kid in like 77 through 83, 84, when we used to go to the store, all my allowance would be used on like Star Wars cards, King Kong from 76 and stuff like that. And whenever the box was about empty and they had another one entered, I always ask if I could have the box. I still have the boxes from the Star Wars, all 5 sets, like 3 or 4. I even have the wrappers. I saved all the wrappers and everything. I even ironed them out as a kid because I was anal retentive in how they looked. And I've got like 50 of every wrapper that existed from all the Star Wars lines, the blue, red, yellow, orange, green, all the way down. Then I've got the Return of Empire Strikes Back, all the sets, Return of the Jedi, Superman 1, 2, 3, Terminator up to 2, and I've got all the Star Trek. Big card fan.
Yeah, so that's definitely a tip for you though when you're out at the sale. Definitely do take a look at the boxes as well, because a lot of people put no value at all on the boxes. And again, I put no value what was inside the box. But that's how you know you're a reseller. You're more excited about the box than what's in it.
Yeah, I love boxes of any kind. We've picked up quite a few. In fact, some of them just because of the last name on a box or something, because I've got buyers for, certain last names. They buy trade cards, anything with that last name on it.
Nice. We have another feature over here we call Insulting Offer of the Week, and we only did one this week. But Mr. Magazine had a QFX VP109 digital multimedia player 2.0 channel 60 hertz new inbox. He was asking $42.75 on it. Person made him a 99-cent offer and made a note in there, good luck selling it. So what do you do when you get insulting offers, Don?
I just block them and move on.
Okay, so yep, you use the
yeah, I don't go back and forth. I had somebody make a comment. I'd offer you such and such, but your shipping's so darn high. Why is your shipping so high? Well, just block them. I don't care. I'm not going to mess with it because they're bitching about the shipping. I had somebody yesterday. I posted a video yesterday, first time in a while, and somebody immediately, I was still on doing stuff and responding and posting some other stuff. I had Patreon videos and stuff, and somebody else was criticized on the video, but why I charge so much for shipping? You're making all your extra profit from shipping. I make zero on shipping. I ship with tracking because I have to have it, and I don't trust eBay's tracking, and eBay themselves won't take their own tracking if it doesn't show a delivery scan, the envelope tracking. So I'm like, I'm not going to use their own tracking service because it's not real tracking.
Right.
Even if it's 10% of the time, 10% of the time means 10% of the time I can get a ding. They can just say they didn't get it, so I'm... Yeah.
All right. A couple of other quick things, and we'll ask you the main questions over here. I'm sure you saw this, Don, but the IRS delayed the IRS rule again, the $600 rule. Now it's going to be $5,000. It doesn't affect you, me, or most of the people here in the chat. We of course pay taxes no matter what, but a lot of people out there are sitting there happy. And I did see where it would create a mess because, again, say Mr. Magazine and I went out to eat and I paid and then he PayPal'd me the money. Well, then all of a sudden, you do that a few times and you're getting a 1099 and all you were doing was paying for dinner and getting reimbursed for it. So I can see where the issues were. I don't think the IRS had the mechanism in place for people to easily differentiate and say, well, no, that really wasn't income. It was reimbursement for, say I bought a plane ticket for Mr. Magazine. We were going somewhere and I paid for the tickets and he reimbursed me. Well, then all of a sudden that's showing up on PayPal for, half the hotel and the flight. You can get over $600 pretty easily nowadays with that, if we weren't resellers. Mm-hmm. So I can
something
see
like that would be, well, I guess the initial charge, they're all coded. A charge card, whatever it's for, is a coding number on there. I don't know what they are, the codes, but I know there was codes for some things, and if it goes by the code, they can tell what it's by. And I think there was a law they were trying to get passed, or maybe they passed it, where they were required to show the codes going forward. And I think that has something to do with what you're talking about here, if I'm not mistaken, because I did read an article. It's been a while, but a few months back, literally talking about the coding that they can tell. Obviously, if it's reimbursement, though, they're not going to be able to tell. So that's where it would come into that gray area that you're talking about. To me, they should just do it and be done with it if they're going to do it, instead of like dragging it on, because then people aren't, they're not sure what's going on. They may invest in this and then realize, hey, I'm going to have to pay taxes. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people who do reselling or have, for years who have never paid taxes. I know somebody who almost went to jail for doing that. So, I mean, I would never even think about it because, you can't get financial backing from a bank. You've got to have the income. You've got to be able to show that you're a successful business to do any of that. And, not filing taxes would be a big no-no. How are you going to go sign for a car? Are you going to, unless you got cash,
Yeah, right. And the problem with that, of course, is where'd you get the cash?
Well, yeah, that's exactly the whole point. It's just like but then it turns into what are you, money laundering or what?
Yep.
I mean, we bought the last car in cash, but it's the point that
you had the paper trail for it.
Yeah, I could prove where it came from. When we got a house loan, when we got the mortgage for the house, we put down a huge amount of money. I mean, like 38% or 39% in cash. The bank asked me every single payment I made through there that was over a certain amount. And they were holding it up on the last ones, which I didn't see. It was like 3 days, and they started calling me frantic, like, what's going on? I'm like, what are you talking about? So I checked the email, and it was payments that I made to pay my taxes in advance on a quarterly basis is what they were asking about. Well, is this money you owe for something? And on and on and on and on and on. I mean, I'm like, it's going to the IRS. So then I had to supply documents to prove that money matched with my payments to the IRS on a quarterly basis. I'm like, I pay quarterly. I'm self-employed. LLC and the whole works. S corp on one business, LLC in the other one. And I'm like, anyway, it's a nuisance, but.
Did you see about Kurt Cobain's jeans, Don?
They sold for some horrendously high price.
$410,000 at auction. Yep.
That's not the record for jeans either.
That I don't know. Oh no, then they minor. Yep.
That's it. Yep. Yep.
90s or 80. Yep.
Yep.
Crazy.
Wow.
And then David Bowie handwritten lyrics for Suffragette City and Rock and Roll Suicide are expected to go for $100,000. That's coming up for auction. So
I bet it'll go for more.
Probably, yeah, because the article I read said that some other lyrics that he had written went for $225,000. So
that's way too cheap. I mean, I'm a David Bowie fan, Man Who Sold the World. That whole album's, it rocks, and that's my era of Bowie. I like the older Bowie personally.
Yeah,
not Laughing Gnome or anything like that for anybody who knows that song, but
And then another one I saw when I was looking around out there, Britain has its own Antiques Roadshow, and somebody went to it. They had a watch that they paid $25 for, and you'll like this one. It's worth about $12,500. It's a WW2 Luftwaffe pilot watch, which can glow in the dark.
Radium.
Yep, it's got the radium in there, and that's exactly what the person. Yep, and that's exactly what the experts said. They said if you're going to have this. If you're going to take it apart and work on it, have an expert do it because of the radium and the radiation and all that kind of stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah, they're neat looking watches. I've seen at the military show, there was a beat up one there that was from a crashed plane or something.
Wow. Well, now you know it can go for $12,500 in Britain.
But yeah, it depends on the version, the model, the condition. There's probably 3 or 4 watches like that.
All right, now we're going to head on into the main thing. As everybody knows, Papergoy has 2,594 hours and 14 minutes until retirement. But who's counting? So Mr. Magazine here does it full time. You do it full time. I am used to the structure of a job. The 9 to 5, even though it's not really 9 to 5, but the 9 to 5. And what I do online is gravy. When you get down to it, not that I don't do a good job on it, not that I don't. I list every day I find time for it. But if all of a sudden I had to take a couple of days off, it's not a big deal because I've got the day job coming in. So when I transition, what do I need to look out for? What time sinks do I have to watch out for? What hints and that can you give me and Mr. Magazine give me?
Well,
you can take it away, Don.
The first thing is, for me, I was always waking up in the middle of the night thinking I missed the alarm clock and I'm going to be late for work. I did that for like a year and a half or longer. I'm serious. I couldn't get out of the group because I used to get up if it was like a truck day back in the old days, I'm working at the store. I had to be there, before 4 in the morning and, 12-hour shifts and all that stuff. So I'm an early riser. I had to go to bed real late and I sleep maybe 4 hours a day if I'm lucky. My hands, I'm doing so much crap, and I'm sure I got carpal tunnel. My hands like go to sleep at night sometimes. So, I never sleep much anyway these days. But that was my biggest shocker, that I don't have to be anywhere. But to be honest with you, these days I've never been so secure, feeling so relaxed, so worry-free, I guess I have to say, right now than I've ever been in my entire life. With even as a child, I've never felt like this, where things just fell into place left and right with being my own business. And I put in the time. I write. I've got a schedule. I keep a schedule for myself every day of the week. I know what I'm doing when. I know which part of the day I'm going to work on. We're painting the kitchen. We've got 4 colors going to the kitchen, and I do an hour or so here. I do some of the building. eBay does this much. Amazon, Etsy, Walmart. I even threw some time to Walmart. We've been messing with Del Camp lately, and a couple other places too. So I write it all out. Write yourself a schedule if it takes. And I don't sit and have a cigarette. I don't go drink a cup of coffee. If I'm supposed to be working, I work. People think I'm rude out in public if I don't. I'm on a schedule. I'm not trying to be rude. I've got to make 4 places before 2:00 or whatever the case may be. But
if I could ask a question, now you were mentioning, I'm just going to use these as examples. eBay, Etsy, Del Camp. Do you do eBay Monday, Etsy Tuesday, Del Camp Wednesday, or do you do eBay for 2 hours on Monday, Del Camp for an hour, Etsy for an hour, and then do that every day that way? Which is the better way to schedule a specific day for a site, or every site every day?
Well, I've got people that still list. Right. So some people do some things. I personally, when I say I do eBay, I'm usually just getting stuff ready for people to list. I've just probably 2.5 hours or maybe 3 hours ago, I scanned like 500 cards with the duplex scanner and then I priced the first 200 of those. And then I did scanning on Internal Revenue tax paid early beer labels. I had those up, and those take extra time. I do them in a flatbed. So, I go by who's scheduled to work, what needs to be done for it. And, every day that somebody's doing something, they're doing on an eBay at least. Amazon, I don't do as much, hardly at all right now with Amazon. We're doing fine on Amazon. I can't complain because I sell like a oddball record that, on eBay I get $10. I'm getting $50 on Amazon. So, I really can't complain for the little effort, but pretty much it's bouncing around by who's here. Some people are pros, say on getting Etsy stuff ready, or on HIP's, direct import. So I don't have to do anything on HIP. Del Camps, you can export and import too. So that's not a huge deal. I guess it just depends on who's there. And if I get something that we pull out of a box that I want to get up, it might be something I think I'd get more money on eBay. So I list by which site I'll get the most money on, by what comes out of a box. I just randomly grab stuff these days to list, honestly. I'll pull out a tote because everything's boxed. I got 278 55-gallon totes full of just paper, so it gets a little bit, and I'm not counting the 590 pounds worth of buttons that I still need to go through still. So, well,
with that $10 eBay record that you can sell for $50 on Amazon, I don't know if you're aware of this. You can get $3 and whatnot for it. I don't know if you were aware of that or not.
Well, you're not really supposed to mark up stuff on Amazon like that,
No, but if you don't list it on eBay, then you're. And actually, one thing that I've noticed, if we go off on a bit of a tangent now, is ever since the government started nosing around at Amazon, they've all of a sudden become a lot more user friendly. And I know you mentioned it,
I don't have
100% that's the reason why.
And what I like the best about what Amazon's changed recently, I do a lot of like movie and talking about actor and actress like you guys with that. And once in a blue moon, I'll get one out. Bob Dylan's record management sent I wouldn't say nasty note to us, but I've got posters from Bob Dylan. I don't remember what they were, but the point being that I can't use his name in the title. So, and Amazon didn't do anything. And the fact they said, hey, you do this and you're fine. No points. I'm still at the top,
Yep.
250 or whatever it says on my account now. And then if you do violate it, You can take like a video course, and then they just take it off.
Yep.
And then you're right back up to 250 or wherever your rating is on Amazon. So I'm like, your performance number, whatever you want to call it. So I'm like,
account health. Yep.
eBay doesn't even do it.
But the tough thing about that, and I don't want to give anything away, I don't want to for Amazon, but if you do have to take the course, you do have to answer the quiz at the end.
Yeah.
Which one of them was, what's the best thing to do? Put it up and figure Amazon will end it if I can't have it up. That's not the right answer. I don't want to have anybody cheat, but that's not the right answer.
You know, Amazon's gotten, I'm on gated in collectibles still. And I know no one else, for whatever reason, I don't know anybody else. Well, I'll take that back. I know one person who's on gated in vintage and collectible records, but they don't let anybody in there. So they don't bug. I haven't been bugged on anything. I can list pretty much anything that's used, opened, or anything on Amazon without anybody saying a darn word. I don't even need an ASIN number. That I just make one up. Yeah. You know, so there's nothing to it. And when I even ask them questions, they just do this. You know, they're done. That's it. They give me a quick response, and I'm done. eBay, you can have 5 different responses in the same day. Well, never in the same day, and they're all different. Everyone's telling you something different. And just like they tell me it's okay to list it, if Amazon tells me it's okay to list it, I've never in my life ever had to deal with that same item again. Especially if they say, hey, you know, don't put this in it, like Bob Dylan's name and Richard Pryor estate. I still have a bad one about that because I was in the right, but I can't prove it. He signed he himself signed the rights away. I don't care if his estate says that it's not, I can't use his name. He signed his away to advertisements for the movie stuff we were selling with his name on it. Silver Streak items, him and Gene Wilder. You know, I don't get dinged for Gene Wilder stuff, you know, from his estate, but.
Now, don't you do well, Mr. Magazine, selling Abe Illinde posters?
Yes. If I say like newer, yes.
Yeah. That's the way around it, Don.
I can't list them as new I can't list them as new or collectible. Anything else is fine.
But the biggest problem that I'm finding, and I think you probably have this problem too, Mr. Magazine, because you're there at the store, and you probably, when you're at the store, you probably can't get into, because people can always be coming in.
Right.
So what do you do for that?
I usually take a nap. But I do the best I can. I try to schedule like appointments with people just so I don't get overwhelmed. But I'll pawn stuff on other employees and stuff like that. If it's small collections or, you know, 1980s sports cards, I don't want to deal with any of that. So, but if it's a bigger deal, I'll take the time out and stuff. But I'm back and forth at the warehouse, so I'm not even at the shop that much anymore, to be honest with you.
Because that's the problem that I'm finding, Don. Go ahead, say whatever you were saying.
I used to say Mr. Buys-A-Lot saying Richard Pryor. I was dinged on eBay too, the very same time. So I had to take it down. In fact, they even went to Etsy and got me. I had the same Richard Pryor Silver Streak. Richard Pryor's estate went after me on eBay, Etsy, Amazon, and I think I had it up even on a 4Spot, and they hit me over there on some smaller site. Everyone, and it was straight from Richard Pryor's estate. And they've done it. They've done it. In fact, I listed something else, forgetting about it, you know, after the first time it happened. And they hit me again on Amazon. And I says, never again. I'm not going to use his name in it. I'll just put Silver Streak, Gene Wilder, or whatever the case may be. But they hit us on every site. That's why I say I've got a thing against Richard Pryor's estate, because I'm a big Richard Pryor fan. And it was offensive that they went after me for something that I adored the movie. You know, I liked the movie. I liked Richard Pryor. Him and Gene Wilder did great together.
Mr. Magazine, who are you saying you have problems with?
Is it Bob Ross? Is that it? Who's a painter?
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross.
His paint.
You can't sell anything with his name on it, like Funkos. No, yeah, I got dinged a bunch of times on Amazon. So I think he's at a Hot Wheels car, believe it or not, too. A Funko. We had all that stuff and can't sell it no matter what. Yeah, none of his that's a big thing with his whole estate, because he didn't want, none of his paintings have ever been sold. There's actually a documentary just on what happened to his paintings. I think it's called on YouTube. Now, I remember watching him as a kid. You know, I remember that's how I learned how to use a fantail brush, was watching one of his shows years when I was like 5 or 6. You know,
that was a happy accident.
There's like 3 of the people that did that. William Alexander was before him, and he was another one I used to watch. If anybody knows who William Alexander was, but he was like Polish or something, had a real heavy accent, but he knew you know, it was side road, you know, curbside painting type of stuff. But you know, for what it was.
Yeah. The problem that I'm finding, and again, I don't have the sense of urgency because of the day job, but working out of the house, and you've got a separate building, I believe, Don, so that's got to make it a little bit easier.
2,400 square feet.
How many?
2,400 square
wow.
feet.
Nice.
2 stories. It will be anyway. It's not quite yet, but
is that you start getting into the groove, and then all of a sudden there's a knock at the door and it's UPS. And obviously you don't want to leave your package sitting out on the porch. Not that anybody's ever taken anything, knock on wood, but I would rather take the package in, obviously. Well, now I get the package in. I might as well open it because I'm not sure what it is. Now I open it up and, oh, it's stuff to list, or, oh, it's supplies. Let me put the supplies away. And this happens and that happens and this happens. Oh, the mail comes. Well, I've got a bill. Let me go upstairs and pay the bill. And that's where I find that I end up wasting a lot of time. So I guess, how do you avoid that? How do you avoid those distractions? The shiny, oh, look at that over there, look at that over there. And thus far, I don't have to worry about it because I'm not reliant upon the income. But soon enough, I will be.
I don't really have any distractions like that here. We live out, my neighbor, there's one person on the side. I know her now at this point fairly well. You have to walk across a moat. I'm set back from the road, and when they drop off a package, there's a locked sun porch here they can put it on. I've never had to worry, but in general, I don't have any. I don't have to be anywhere anytime I want. I don't have anything concerns. I just keep to my thing. We get packages in, almost every day. Worst case scenario, I go out and have to bring out the dolly or something, and usually they just back it up to the building nowadays. We open up the gate for them, and the UPS guy, he just pulls straight in because he doesn't want to have to back up my driveway because it's a gully on either side out by the road, and they just back it up to the building. That's all. I don't really have much of an issue. Like the post office, I know them now. I know I know the 5 people that work at my post office. It's a small town and stuff, and I don't have any issues with that. I don't get sidetracked, to tell you the truth. I'm as a general manager, regional manager, I was the one who was, why are you on, 15-minute cigarette break twice this hour, that kind of stuff. Why aren't you on the job? Why are you just hanging around? So I don't let myself, I'm constantly moving. That's all I can say is, I can still, probably run, probably not a 5-minute mile, but maybe a 6.5 minute or something. But, I'm constantly moving. I'm like hyper all the time if I'm working. I can't stop until I'm done. And, I'm anal retentive about that kind of stuff. And it's not by choice. Trust me, it's not by choice. It's just how I am. I either worked and did that, or we didn't have enough money to feed the wife and kids, back in the day when I worked in the restaurants, and, you do what you got to do. And that I've just stuck with that. My father was a military guy, and, there's a schedule. You stick to the schedule. You do what you're supposed to do, and you don't stop until, you're supposed to. That's just me.
Right. And I get in the zone, obviously, in my day job. But
it might take you a while to get into the zone on this, being your own self. Yeah, I could see that, because now you're finally relaxed. I don't have to go in anywhere, and I can. Yeah, I don't think I ever had that, because I feel lucky to be in the spot I'm in. I so graciously lucky beyond belief to be right here. We've got some property now. I've got buildings now, and it's. I just can't. I'm overwhelmed with the gratitude for the way things have worked out for us. And to be honest with you, I'm going to do everything it takes so I never have to do anything else but this. So everything I do is all geared toward, what's it going to be like in 2 years if I'm doing this now, like YouTube videos or something. I did a whole bunch certain ways for a reason when I did them, and they're riding my business now. eBay listings, I know what I need to get out to list, and that's all that matters with that. When I'm doing family time, different story, but I get sidetracked with the family if we're just family time. But I'm in my own little world out there, and it's my building. I don't have the distractions, or I don't allow myself to be distracted, I guess.
So I'm going to ask both of you a question. I'll start with you, Mr. Magazine. Somebody comes up and says, I want to get into reselling full time. What do you tell them, Mr. Magazine?
I would say ask Papergoy or Auction Professor.
Wow. All right, Don. What would you
buy low and sell high?
What would you say?
Don't use eBay or whatnot.
Wow. What would you say if somebody came up to you and said they were thinking about doing this full time? What advice would you have for them? They're brand new. They don't know anything about it.
Well, I've actually gotten that a lot in lately, even from somebody just the other day who, doesn't know much about reselling, but happened to see some video that I had up, and they hit me up at the library the other day. And I'm like, it's not as easy as everybody tells you. So, if you're thinking you're just going to come in, I'm straight up. I'm not going to feed anybody a line, because anybody saying, hey, you're just going to sell this or do that and you're fine, you're rich and blah, 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 you're making your money. It took us 10 years to save up the money for this, what we got now. 10 straight years. It took me 3 years to be able to not worry about where we're going to get the next bill paid from. You know what I mean? Because it was 3 years of nothing but this, and it was horrid. So I mean, if you're ready for it, you don't mind working your butt off, you don't mind, you're in a different state, not like state, but different. You know what I mean? Because you've got income, I'm sure have savings, you've got 401k or whatever else you may have. And, I got a pension from Disney and a few other places, but the point being that you've already got listings up. If you're just starting off, I don't know anybody that's going to just start off and be able to make a living for a year or two, maybe even 3 still down the road, where they're going to be able to make a good living, where you can worry about buying a car or getting your own place. It's going to be years. For us, a whole decade. We had a house that we lost to Katrina, and it took us forever to even get out of that hole in the wall, because the insurance company, gave us zero, and FEMA gave us enough to not even fix the roof, and on and on and on and on. So, I mean, our bank account was gone. We were in financial distress from Hurricane Katrina. No crying on my behalf. It happened. We made it through it. I feel like I'm a better person and stronger for doing it on our own and I didn't have anybody to rely on. It was just me and the wife. I mean, we fixed it ourselves. We got ourselves out of it from reselling, and to be honest with you, that's where we started. And I guess there's a mentality to this, and most people just think it's easy and it's going to, you're instantly going to be making a lot of money. And that's nowhere near in any way, shape or form what this is like. I mean, I collect. I've collected. So I got my toys from 73 still, some of them, not all of them. I wished I did, but I've been pulling some of them out and stuff. So I've had stuff. I know what the stuff is since I was, since the 70s, so for me, I collected stamps. I was scouts. I did the stamp merit badge. I was the merit badge counselor for the stamp merit badge, even for the whole district, so I mean, I've been into stuff. My father's in military. Military stuff I know. I've been to Fort Knox where he was stationed at one point and all this stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. It's not easy, and too many people portray it on YouTube world that it's just easy, and it's not. I've fought to be where I'm at now, and I've given up a lot of my life, including, just awful time and working for jobs till we can afford to do this full time. And, I guess that's why I'm not distracted anymore, because I earned something out of it that I could have never thought I would have: land, property, acreage, my own building, for crying out loud. I mean, the wife and I just were so elated when we signed that paperwork. The free falling from Tom Petty always comes to mind. When that feeling from Jerry Maguire, when he's driving in the car and free falling, that's how I felt. One other time I felt when we moved out to DC, I felt like that when we finally got out after 9/11, after the sniper shootings and all this stuff. Finally got out of DC. We were in the car. I got my van on a trailer. I've got the largest U-Haul truck they have, and somebody else following behind with the kids. And I just was so relieved. But now it's I don't know. It's just not easy, and it bothers me that people portray it as that just for the views, and it puts people in a bad spot that need the money and are taking this as a shot to make a living. And for most people, they give up. The majority of them, 70% or more. I think the current ratio is like 78% of people who try their own business do not make it. And I'm not trying to, and that comes from Mr. Wonderful, whether his information is true or not. I'm sure if anybody has it, he probably has some of the information, at least one of his companies. And anyway.
Well, I've been dealing with businesses for 33 years. So yeah, it's
you know what it is.
Yeah. But I guess the other point that you didn't make, and I don't know if you were aware of this or not, is nowadays with eBay, remember you called them up about getting a second site?
Yeah, a while ago. Yeah, because I picked up a ton of photos and 45s, and I wanted to do either a photo site or 45 site. And they would treat us as a first-time stranger where we have to sell so many per month.
You can have them tied together, your stores. We have 3 stores.
We can tie them, but they said we can't list and that one new store, we can't list more than so many a month.
Five
a
month.
That's what they told me
on a new store.
So it happened with Random Neighborhood Kid.
Yeah,
too.
Random Neighborhood Kid tried to sell, and they capped them at 5 items a month.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's how can you build a business?
The problem is it depends on who you're talking to. I'm sure if I called someone else, they might have said no, but who knows? So I was.
Well, we've had them for years. We've had them for years, though. So I don't.
Right, yeah. Yep.
But say you wanted one now, it might be different because I specifically said I have 200,000 items. I want to start a new store. How many will you let me allow to list? And they said it's 5 for the first month. Once they sell and I establish myself, I can get more listings as each month goes on. So
yeah. So how can you start out at that level?
Well, a new store can list, hundreds, I would imagine. I mean, I don't have any idea these days what a new store, someone just signing up, can get,
5. It's 5. Yeah. Because Random Neighborhood signed up.
We used InkFrog. It was like 20,045 RPMs. The guy was on eBay. I bought his whole inventory off. So we transferred it to InkFrog.
Well, I won't ask his name on public. Yeah. I might know who it is.
So then, we transferred him to InkFrog, and then we were going to put him on the new eBay site if they allowed me to have one. And they said I couldn't do that. So then I just put him on my regular eBay site. We transferred them all. They're all his codes and stuff. So it worked out perfectly. But I would have rather have, a 45 site because I still have 100,000 45 sitting in the back room that we would have listed. And
I got 400,000 probably. My take on that whole 2 stores, the only reason we still have 3 stores is because back then an anchor store, you only got 10,000 free listings. So for me to have 30,000 listings, it was cheaper to have 3 different stores as opposed to going up to the next level. So, I mean, you got the extra frees for it. So that's the only reason I pushed people to get, extra ones. But back then it was easy. You could even, again, there was other services, and I don't remember the name of the other one we used, but you could split up your store now, and I could download, 100,000 listings or half of my store and put half of it somewhere else to save the money. And it was only a money thing. The second they did the new setup with ZIFs and all the other zero insertion fees and all that stuff, it made it pointless, in my personal opinion, to have, multiple stores. And I'll say that, and I know I get the drift on why separate for records, separate for this, but if you've got a lot of records in there with a lot of other stuff too, the footprint is all that I see that matters these days. And I've run test after test. I've talked, I've looked, I even paid somebody from one of those services that track stuff. I'm not going to get into details on that, but I actually paid for, a one-time evaluation on some things. My personal opinion, and I never pay for anything, so just FYI, I did it because I really think that there's something to the footprint size on eBay. I think, again, I know you've got a huge footprint, but I guess if it's tied to one thing, if you list so many up at the same time, there's a bunch of things that seem to be playing into what eBay has changed, in my opinion, and I think it's all tied to the promoted crap. And again, they got the new promoted offsite promotions, and they keep sending me the crap. I get every day I get how to sell watches, and I've never sold a watch in my life on eBay other than a swatch, back in the day. We have a box of swatches here somewhere, which I should probably get out. But so, I mean, they're clueless on so much stuff on there, in my opinion. And anyway, I'm rambling now, so I'll shut up there before I start rambling on a whole other topic.
Well, that's one thing real quick that I find funny is I collect sports cards. And I'll have looked at, I don't know, I'm going to make this up because I don't know who was card 524. Do you know in 1966 Topps? No. I was looking for card 524 Mike Shannon for 1966 Topps. And I find one and I buy it because I needed it. But I looked at 5 or 6 different ones and I found what I thought was the best deal and I bought it to fill in my set. The next time you go on, things you might be interested in. No, I'm not interested in card 526 Mike Shannon. I just bought one. A collector doesn't want to keep looking at the same card, and that's where their AI and all that kind of thing screws up because they don't have it programmed for the collector mentality. Because if you get Spider-Man 27,
right,
you want one of them.
Yeah.
What you need to do, and we do it quite often, is I'll go in and clear out my recently viewed listing, and then it stops that for a little while, and then you got to do it again the next day if you look at a bunch of stuff. So I do that on Amazon too, believe it or not. So any site I go to, I usually clear that out. And then sometimes if I'm really irritated by what they're pushing, I'll go and clear out my web browser too.
I just keep buying Mike Shannon cards. So I've got 400,000 of them I'm looking to sell. That's my retirement. We have another quick little feature over here, which Mr. Magazine was nice enough to give. You'll enjoy this, Don. It's called the Rambling Story of the Week.
Well, speaking of restaurants, before every Friday or Saturday for my kids' football games, we go tailgating. We'll go out to eat, and then we'll go to the game. So we decided to drink a little bit first. I had a few rum and cokes in me, and then we went to a Mexican restaurant. And at this point, I'm starting to get a little silly. So the waitress was asking how many in our group. We had 20 people, but for separate checks, I just said un, dos, cuatro, cinco. So I skipped 3. And then I was trying to speak in Spanish, which I don't know too much of it.
Mis amigos sus pescados
said
en la cocina.
It was my buddy's birthday, and I was singing Mi Cumpleaños aquí. I don't even know if I said that right, but she didn't you could tell she didn't like that. So I got my first drink. Then I had to wait 20 minutes for my next drink. And I said, well, this is a little too much. I know they're busy, but come on. So I went to the bar, and guess she's the bartender and the waitress. So I asked for another drink. She goes, you'll get yours, just wait. I waited another 20 minutes. So I think I pissed her off so much that she was kind of sticking it to me from one speaking Spanish. I think she thought I was mocking the Spanish language out, which I was just, having
trying to have fun.
Yeah, whatever. But I guess don't be rude to the waitress or try to speak Spanish to them. That's what I learned from that one because it took me 40 minutes to get 2 rum and coke. So
they'll spit in your food. People, I'm always polite at a restaurant. I haven't been to a restaurant in a while, but I mean, I got, I don't even know. Maybe it's Dietz barbecue. We got barbecue the other day. Most of the time, I just cook here these days. But don't tick off the people who prepare your food.
Yeah, I got scolded. Yeah, I could tell the look. She wasn't right. Well, I did tip her like 40% just because I was, she thought I was busting chops. So just hopefully I made it up that way. So, but lesson learned.
Mis amigos de pescados en la cocina.
Sí.
De la cabeza. And the same thing in German is Du hast eine Vogel in dem Kopf.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Not that
any well, why don't you promote yourself here a little bit, Don? You were nice enough to come on, the auction professor. Promote yourself. Tell us what you're all about. Tell us your channel. Tell us what you're peddling.
Promote myself. I don't promote myself too much. I do videos. Obviously, I haven't done as many videos lately. I think I've only done a live on Patreon and then a live on YouTube since we've moved.
Are you going to be doing the lives on YouTube some point in the future, or what are you doing on that?
I'm sure we will. We've been doing stuff on 3 different fronts, and I haven't even touched the garage yet, which is a decent sized garage. But once I get, I'm in my bedroom right now. Honestly, that's where I'm at. This is literally what my bedroom looks like.
After dark with the auction professor.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But I've got an extra room upstairs. As soon as we finish painting, I can do videos and stuff up there until the building's done. There's so much of an echo, and right now I've got half of it where we got it's a big, huge barn is what it was. But they had sealed it all up in a closed cell, low density foam, and it's tight. I've sealed up the roof. I climbed up in the roof. I spent like 60 hours on the roof. Anyway, once that's all sealed up and ready to go, I'm gonna have I'll have a full-fledged studio in there. We'll have our stuff in there, and I'll be cranking out videos on even with 3D printers, because I've got a whole bank of different 3D printers. I've got actual full-fledged full-size kilns. I'm going to be going to models, more artwork, because I'll be able to keep the stuff up. I'm going to go. I used to do dioramas, big, massive dioramas. I used to sell them on eBay, even. We've sold some for $1,000 plus, and my kids used to help us with those and stuff. And I'm going to be going into that. And obviously, eBay is I'll be doing till the day I die. I have no plans on retiring at all, because for me, this is I like doing it. I'm so into the stuff I sell. So you'll see more videos coming up. My goal would be the beginning of the year to be transitioning back to more videos. As of now, I plan to do at least a video a week on YouTube. I've got a little more help in. We've got videos. I've probably got about 7 or 8 videos that have been done. I've got like 70, and I'm not exaggerating, probably 70 videos we've recorded that have never been edited, just sitting on a hard drive right now. So once we get caught back up to doing everything, because I recorded all kinds of stuff. I just never have the time to mess around, and I lost some employees. It's too far to drive now, and because we live on the other side of town, out in the middle of the country, basically. And so you got to take the turnpike from where we used to live just to get out here. So I'll be putting up. I do a lot of videos, more videos on Patreon. So far in the last 3 days, I think I put up an hour and a half worth of videos, one each day. I try to do more videos on those because the folks in there are more invested and it's paid. That's the only thing I really do that's paid. It's like $10 a month. And I do have a YouTube membership, but YouTube membership here is just the videos themselves. I don't really do question and answer like I do on Patreon. YouTube membership wasn't an option when I started either. So, but I'll be going back into it. I've got some top 10, top 20 videos we've shot that I'll be doing too. I'm big into anything vintage, as you probably know. I love toys, military. I go to military shows, toy shows. I go to train shows these days, paper shows, postcard shows, coin shows, stamp shows.
Bottle shows. Bottle shows are a great place to pick up paper.
Model shows are pretty good.
Bottle.
Oh, bottle shows. I've been to a couple bottle shows, but there's none close by.
Okay.
The button show, the best button show in the state is the Ohio State Button Show, which is in Columbus, which I might go to. But I used to be a vendor. I used to set up at Mount Dora in Reningers in Florida, which was a big flea market out there. I used to do a few antique malls in Meridian and stuff. But these days it's all online. But again, I'm back into videos. It's a lot of work going on. I've got my scars to prove it and, some stuff like that. But I'll be posting out normal quantity videos. At this point, I should be at least one a week.
You didn't just give us the finger, did you, Don?
No, that's
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's a carbide saw blade cut right there. But anyway, yeah, that's me. I'm into anything old. I'm a nerd on anything vintage. I ramble a lot, as I am probably right now. I can talk about this collectibles till I can't talk anymore because I just love them so much. And that's part of the why I do videos. I don't promote stuff I don't use. I don't do any promoted videos per se. I've only done one for HIP, and that was it in my entire history. I've turned down every single thing else. I haven't even had time really to write. I was writing for E-commerce Bites. I've probably got about 2.5 years of writing for Ina over there, Ina and Dave. I just don't have time for a lot of stuff these days. But again, we're finally coming back around the hump here, around the horn, I guess you'd call it. And so I've got a little more time here and there, and it's going back to normal again. The Auction Professor, I've got like 2,000 videos up now, I think, and there's probably almost 700 in Patreon, 140 on my membership page. So if you go into Patreon for $10, you can watch 700 videos. Some of them, most all the videos in Patreon and my memberships are at least 20 minutes. The majority of the ones I think on Patreon these days are about 30 minutes a piece, as opposed to a 10-minute video I usually put up on YouTube. Again, paid, I want to make sure I'm giving out the good stuff there. I don't talk about a lot of stuff on YouTube anymore just because I get threats these days. We had a stalker when we moved here, and we had some other issues I had to have.
We talked about that, Don. Come on.
we bought a house. We bought the house, right? And then the old owner, we've taken them and got some legal challenges going against them because they lied about stuff. They signed off on stuff that were untrue. I've got proof. They signed it in the title office. Anyway, some of the folks that they're friends with, don't take too kindly to us. And then we've had a couple eBayers. We have people come by, so we weren't sure who was coming after us and stuff. But the wife had been, yelled nasty stuff by certain. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. It's all on video now, and it's been turned over. I've talked to the state's attorney's office. I've even talked to the state's attorney's office in Massachusetts. I'm not going to get into any more about the Massachusetts thing, but that you can probably put 2 and 2 together with that. But anyway, it's all solved at this point. We have a big video and security system out here now. We got some land, so I had to put it all over the place, and anyway.
All right, well, definitely do check Don's videos out if you haven't already. Do hit the like button on all 700 of them. He would definitely appreciate that. His link's down below. There to find that. And egg on my face, I didn't put the link there until Don said, hey, come on, help a brother out. And I said, oh, yeah, I'll put that up there. And as to promotions, we are not promoted by anybody yet, but we are in negotiations with Chico's bail bonds. So hopefully that'll come through at some point. All right, everybody out there,
Whatnot reached out to me to see if I'd promote them. I in fact, anybody in my Patreon or if you're in my YouTube membership page, I show their letter and how insulting it was to me. They didn't even get my name right in the email they sent me asking me to support them. for money. They were going to pay me money to do it. And I told them off. I said, no, man. So you would like that, Chuck.
Yeah.
Dave can show you the video if you haven't seen it. But I go in a big spiel because I'm like, first of all, you got my name wrong. So you're wanting me to help you and promote, and you're going to, whether you're paying me or not, I said, you guys lied to me when I took the service. Again, I'm not trying to, I know Dave uses, I could see it has use if again, depending on what I want to do, if you didn't need an auctioneer's license in the state.
Right. Well, I don't know, Don, though. I saw that video you did talking about all the extolling the virtues of why not.
Why not?
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Good Christmas present. Send me the video. It's a nice Christmas present.
Send him the link.
I will. All right, everybody. Thank you very much, Auction Professor. Great to have you on. We're certainly more than willing to come on your show at any point. And there we are with our shameless plug there. Do hit the like button if you could. Definitely do check out all of Don's videos. They're all really, really good. I watched every one. I have them on a loop. Watch them all regularly. And we will see you next week.
All right. Not me. Oh, I'm here next week?
No, you're not here next week.
Oh, you won't see me next week again. So the numbers will be down again. I apologize. But then in 2 weeks, they'll go back up again. Right?
That is true. All right. Thank you very much, Don.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Nice to see everybody.